Have you ever felt as though there's something within you that the whole world refuses to see, yet it screams from deep inside your soul? It's not just shyness, nor a difficult personality trait. It's that almost unexplainable feeling of being out of sync with everything around you, as if crowded places drain your energy, as if certain conversations leave you empty, as if the simple noise of everyday life is enough to misalign your spirit. Perhaps, for a long time, you believed the problem was you, that this constant need to withdraw, to seek silence, was a weakness. But what if I told you it's not a flaw? It's a sign that you have been set apart by the Creator himself. Spiritually marked for a path few have the courage to walk, because those who carry the marks, visible or invisible, were not sent into this world to lose themselves in the crowd. They were called to awaken in the midst of silence. The road of the chosen one is never wide. It is narrow, solitary, deeply challenging. It is paved with closed doors, broken ties, and painful misunderstandings, yet also with revelations that transform everything. From an early age, you noticed you didn't seek the same things others did. While the majority rushed to fit in, you hid away to find yourself. While so many sought company at any cost, you preferred to sink into your own silence. That restlessness you felt, that impression of always being out of place, it was never punishment. It was training. It was the quietest way heaven found to separate you from the noise, so you could hear the voice of your own soul. And now, in this very moment, something begins to click, as if a spiritual key is turning within you. The sudden losses, the friendships that faded without explanation, the places that became unbearable. None of it was random. Every detail was preparation so that, at the right time, you would awaken. Today, as you hear these words, you might feel a shiver, a strange sensation that you're not just listening to a story, but being reminded of something you've always known. This is a calling, a gentle yet powerful whisper telling you the time has come. And before we move forward, I want you to do something simple yet powerful. If these words are resonating within you, write 111 in the comments right now. This number
is a code of spiritual alignment, the sign that you are ready to receive what few dare to hear.
By writing it, you confirm to yourself and to the universe, I am ready. Take a deep breath. Keep your heart open, because in the next few minutes, you will finally understand why this difference has always followed you, and discover that what the world called isolation, heaven has always called protection. There is something sacred about you that the world has yet to understand, something that ordinary eyes cannot see, but the spiritual realm recognizes from a distance. The marks you carry, whether drawn visibly on your hands or etched invisibly into your spirit, are not accidents nor meaningless skin patterns. They are ancient codes, spiritual seals placed upon you before you even took your first breath. The letter M and the crescent moon are more than symbols. They are identifiers, the divine signatures of a mission written into your soul long before you arrived here. They are living reminders that your story was woven into a far greater design, one that stretches beyond this lifetime. And that is why your path has never been ordinary. From your earliest years, there was a quiet knowing inside you, even when you didn't have the words to describe it. You sensed that you were different, that you didn't quite belong to the places and groups you found yourself in. Even among friends, family, and familiar faces, a part of you always remained set apart, distant, observant, quietly watching. It wasn't disinterest, it was discernment. Your soul, operating at a deeper level of awareness, could see beyond the surface. You could feel the truth hiding behind smiles, the unspoken heaviness in certain rooms, the quiet weight of what others ignored. This ability was not learned, it was a birthright. And the marks you carry are proof of that. The chosen one is never sent here to live a common life. They are sent to break cycles that have lasted for generations, to dismantle invisible chains, to bring light into places where shadows have reigned for centuries. But before you can do any of that outwardly, the Creator begins your mission inwardly. He hides you. He silences you. He pulls you away from distractions so that your spirit can be strengthened. And while the world may see your solitude as strange or unnecessary, heaven sees it as sacred preparation, sacred. The marks you carry are not decorations, they are warnings to the spiritual realm. A sign to the unseen forces that you are under divine protection and that your life is not yours to waste. Even if no one else notices, the marks notice. They vibrate when something is wrong. They disturb your peace when you approach a path that was never meant for you. They shield you from harm you never even see coming. And yes, sometimes they isolate you. But that isolation is your training ground. It's where your spiritual sight sharpens, your inner strength builds, and your divine gifts awaken. The letter M and the crescent moon are your reminders that you were not created to blend in. You were created to stand apart, not for pride, but for purpose. And once you recognize their meaning, you'll begin to understand why nothing in your life has ever been random. The path of the chosen one is never the path of the many. It is not wide, it is not crowded, and it is not easy. It is the narrow road, the one most avoided because it demands more than comfort can offer. It asks for solitude, for silence, for moments where you feel as though the whole world has turned its back on you. And yet, this is the road where the greatest spiritual treasures are found. From the outside, it may look like rejection. People leave. Opportunities disappear. The things that seem to come effortlessly to others are delayed for you or never arrive at all. But in the eyes of heaven, none of this is loss. It is refinement. It is the careful crafting of a soul that must be pure enough to carry a mission others could never bear. The narrow road strips away everything unnecessary. It removes the noise, the distractions, the attachments that would only weigh you down. It is not a punishment. It is a sacred separation. God knows that the mission He has placed in your hands cannot be fulfilled with divided attention or diluted conviction. And so, He walks you away from the crowd, not because you are better than them, but because your calling is different from theirs. This path will teach you what the wide road never can. It will teach you patience when everything in you wants to rush. It will teach you trust when you cannot see the way forward. It will teach you strength when you feel like you have none left. And above all, it will teach you that divine purpose is worth more than human approval. On the narrow road, you will often feel unseen, unheard, and misunderstood. That is because the journey is not for validation, it is for transformation. Those who walk this way are forged in silence, just as gold is refined in fire. And like gold, the chosen one emerges from this process, shining with a light that cannot be dimmed. A light that was formed not in the applause of the crowd, but in the quiet approval of the Creator. Every step you take here has meaning. Every delay has a purpose. Every closed door is an act of protection. The narrow road is not for the faint of heart, but for the faithful of spirit. And if you are on it now, it is because heaven has already deemed you capable of carrying what comes next. Long before you had the words to explain it, you already knew. There was something about you that didn't move in rhythm with the rest of the world. While other children were eager to join the crowd, you often found yourself stepping back, not out of fear but out of instinct. You watched, you listened, and you sensed. You felt the undercurrents in the room before anyone else noticed they existed. While others sought to belong, you sought meaning. You weren't satisfied with simply being part of a group. You wanted to understand why things were the way they were, even in moments of joy, a part of you remained quietly apart, as if some unseen part of your spirit was holding back, waiting for a time when it could fully emerge. At family gatherings, in classrooms, even among friends, there was always a subtle distance. You were there, yet not entirely of there. And at times, that difference felt heavy. You may have wondered why you couldn't just be like everyone else. Why fitting in felt like forcing yourself into a shape that didn't belong to you. This wasn't a flaw. It was the first stage of your preparation. The Creator was already setting you apart, shaping your perception, training your spirit to see beyond the obvious. From an early age, you were learning to discern, to read the tone behind the words, the truth behind the smile, the weight behind the silence. You may not have realized it at the time, but these abilities were the first signs of your spiritual sensitivity, a gift that would become your greatest protection and your most powerful tool. This quiet difference, this invisible separation, was the foundation of the mission you were born to fulfill. It's why, even as a child, you sometimes preferred solitude over play, observation over participation. You were being taught to listen in ways the crowd never could. You were being prepared to navigate not just the world you see, but the spiritual currents that move beneath it. And that is why, no matter how much you tried to blend in, you never truly could. The difference was woven into your very being, and as you grew older, it didn't fade, it deepened. Because the mission you carry was never meant to be hidden under the weight of conformity. For much of your life, isolation may have felt like a wound, as though you were being pushed aside, excluded from the connections everyone else seemed to enjoy so easily. You may have wondered why certain friendships faded without reason, why invitations never came, or why doors that were open for others seemed to close for you. But what if I told you that this was never rejection at all? What if the very thing you thought was keeping you out was actually keeping you safe? Isolation for the chosen one is not punishment. It is divine strategy. It is God's way of placing a shield between you and what could damage the mission you carry. Every time you were pulled away from a certain environment, every time a bond dissolved without explanation, it was an act of protection, even when it hurt. You see, the chosen one's energy is rare, powerful, and deeply sensitive. It cannot be left exposed to every influence without risk. Not every person is meant to walk beside you. Not every space is meant to hold you. And so, heaven intervenes, removing you from situations you would never have had the strength to walk away from on your own. This is why your seasons of solitude are sacred. They are the hidden chambers where your spiritual vision sharpens, where your discernment becomes precise, and where your heart learns to move in alignment with divine timing rather than human urgency. The world calls it loneliness. God calls it preparation. When you look back, you'll realize that many of the connections you lost would have become chains. Many of the doors that closed would have led you far from your purpose. And the silence you once feared became the very space where you heard heaven's voice most clearly. The truth is, the chosen one cannot afford to be everywhere with everyone all the time. Your presence carries weight. Your energy shifts atmospheres. And that means it must be preserved, not scattered. Isolation ensures that when the time comes to step into your mission fully, you will be uncorrupted, undistracted, and unbroken. So, stop viewing your solitude as an absence. Begin to see it for what it truly is. The loving shield of a God who values your calling too much to let it be diluted by the noise of the crowd. To be spiritually sensitive is to live with an inner antenna always tuned to frequencies most people cannot hear. Before a word is spoken, you already sense the truth behind it. Before you enter a place, you feel the weight of its atmosphere. While others move through life on autopilot, you detect every subtle shift, the hidden discomfort in a glance, the unspoken tension in a room, the quiet heaviness beneath a seemingly harmless conversation. This ability is not learned. It is a divine gift. But like every true gift from heaven, it is not given without purpose. Your heightened sensitivity was designed to guide you, to warn you, and to protect you from paths that could derail your mission. It is also your armor. It's the reason your spirit stirs without explanation when you're somewhere you don't belong. It's why your body reacts, a sudden headache, an unshakable fatigue, a pounding heart, when you step into environments that are spiritually misaligned. These are not random reactions. They are alarms from the divine, urging you to move, away before harm can touch you. But carrying this gift also comes with weight. Because you feel so deeply, you can easily absorb the pain, fear, and unresolved struggles of those around you. Without realizing it, you might carry burdens that were never yours to bear, and if you do not guard your spirit, these energies can drain you, cloud your clarity, and dim the flame within you. That is why discernment is your greatest ally. Spiritual sensitivity is not fragility. It is strength under divine instruction. The world may see it as weakness, but heaven sees it as one of the most effective shields ever given to a soul. It keeps you from lingering in places where your light would be suffocated. It ensures that your steps are guided not by human desire, but by the quiet prompting of the Spirit. The challenge is learning to protect this gift, to know when to engage and when to withdraw, to recognize when you are meant to stand and when you are meant to walk away. When you honor your sensitivity instead of resenting it, you step fully into alignment with the mission you carry. Because your sensitivity is the direct channel through which heaven speaks to you. There is a reason why crowded rooms feel heavy, why after a single social gathering, you can return home feeling as though you've run a marathon. It is not because you are weak, nor because you dislike people. It is because your soul operates on a higher frequency, one that does not blend easily with the vibrations of the majority. When you step into an environment, you don't just see and hear what is around you, you absorb it. The air seems thicker, the noise sharper, and the emotions of others begin to press against you like an unseen weight. You feel the tension no one names, the sadness hidden behind polite smiles, the restless energy that hangs in the atmosphere. And while others can brush these sensations aside, you cannot.
Your spirit refuses to ignore what is misaligned. This is why in certain spaces you feel an almost physical urge to leave. Why, after spending time with particular people, you need hours, even days, to feel like yourself again. Your energy,
Which is sacred, instinctively retracts when it comes into contact with lower vibrations. The chosen one's field is pure, transparent, and highly receptive. It was designed this way so that you could detect danger long before it becomes visible. But it also means you cannot remain for long in places where truth is absent, where illusions dominate, or where hearts are still asleep to the divine. Staying too long in such spaces will cloud your clarity, dull your discernment, and weaken your light. This is not about arrogance or superiority, it is about survival. Spiritually, your mission depends on your ability to preserve your energy. Without clarity, you risk blending in with the very patterns you were sent to break. Without protection, the fire within you risks being dimmed. So when your body sends signals, sudden exhaustion, unexplained headaches, restlessness without reason, listen. These are not random inconveniences. They are your spirit's way of saying, this place is not for you. And the moment you honor that signal, you safeguard not just your peace, but the mission you were entrusted with. Not everyone is meant to walk beside you. This truth is one of the hardest for the chosen one to accept, especially when the heart longs for connection. But the mission you carry is too sacred to allow every voice, every energy, and every influence to have access to your life. Divine discernment is the filter heaven gives you to protect your path. It is the quiet knowing that rises within you when someone's presence does not align with your spirit. It's the sense of caution you feel before opening your heart too quickly. And though the world may call it overthinking or distrust, it is in fact obedience, an instinct given to you by God to preserve the purity of your purpose. Some people are kind but not aligned. Others are inspiring in appearance but carry shadows you cannot afford to embrace. And then there are those who, without malice, simply operate on a different frequency. Being close to them does not make them bad, but it does make you vulnerable to energies that could blur your spiritual clarity. The more awakened you become, the more selective you must be. You learn that love does not always mean access, and forgiveness does not always require closeness. You can wish someone well from a distance while still guarding the mission entrusted to you. Every person in your life either strengthens your light or dims it. There is no neutral ground when it comes to your spiritual field. And this is why God, in his wisdom, sometimes removes people from your circle before you even understand why. He sees what your heart cannot yet see. He knows what your spirit has not yet discerned. Discernment is not about judgment. It's about protection. The chosen one is not called to live in isolation forever, but to walk with those whose spirits align with the same truth, the same vision, the same light. And once you understand this, you stop feeling guilty for setting boundaries. You realize that guarding your circle is not selfishness. It is stewardship of the calling you've been given. Silence is not emptiness. It is a sanctuary. For the chosen one, silence is where the noise of the world fades and the voice of heaven becomes clear. It is the place where answers surface, where wounds begin to close, and where strength is restored without the world even knowing you were weakened. The modern world fears silence. It rushes to fill every gap with sound, distraction, and constant movement. But for you, the chosen one, silence is not something to fear, it is something to seek. Because in silence, the invisible becomes visible. The patterns that were once confusing fall into place. The fog in your mind lifts, and the direction you've been searching for begins to take shape. This is why God often calls you away from the noise. Why plans fall through. Why certain doors close unexpectedly. These are not signs of abandonment. They are invitations to enter the sacred chamber of stillness. In that space, distractions lose their power, and your spirit can finally tune into the frequency of divine wisdom. In silence, you are not alone. You are surrounded by angels, by protection, by a presence so real it can be felt in the weight of the air around you. This is the place where God whispers things he would never speak in a crowd, where he plants visions in your heart that are too sacred to be shared prematurely. And it is here, in this refuge, that your discernment sharpens. You begin to see who is truly for you and who only appears to be. You recognize opportunities that are genuine and those that are traps in disguise. Most importantly, you remember who you are without the constant pull of outside voices trying to tell you otherwise. Silence is not the absence of movement. It is the foundation for the right movement. It's where clarity blooms, where purpose deepens, and where the chosen one is reminded that they were never meant to live at the speed of the world, but at the pace of heaven. Nothing in your life has been accidental. Not the closed doors, not the people who left without explanation, not the seasons where silence felt heavier than you could bear. Every moment, every loss, every delay was part of a divine strategy to prepare you for the exact place you stand in now. The restlessness you have carried for years was never a flaw. It was the compass of your spirit, guiding you toward your mission. The solitude that once felt like rejection was, in truth, the loving protection of a God who knew your calling was too sacred to be exposed too soon. Now you see it clearly. The signs were always there. The letter M and the crescent moon, whether marked on your hands or etched into your soul, were never random. They were seals placed upon you before you were even born, living proof that your story is woven into a greater plan, one that stretches beyond your lifetime, and now that the veil has been lifted, you cannot go back to who you were before. You walk with awareness, you walk with faith, you walk with purpose. The world may still not understand you, and it doesn't have to. The calling was for you, the preparation was for you, and the mission ahead belongs to you. From this moment on, you carry the responsibility of an awakened, chosen one. This means protecting your energy with intention. It means walking away from what drains your light, no matter how tempting it may seem. It means stepping into the world, not as someone seeking approval, but as someone already recognized by heaven. The same separation that once felt like loss is now revealed as your greatest gain. You have been refined, you have been strengthened, and you have been prepared for such a time as this. The season ahead is not the beginning of your journey. It is the moment your preparation meets your purpose. So now, I invite you to seal this revelation. If these words have resonated with your spirit, leave the number 777 in the comments right now. This is the number of spiritual completion, the activation code that confirms you are ready to step fully into your mission. And 8, if you have not yet subscribed, do it now. Here, every message is a map left for the chosen ones, a guide for those who, like you, are awakening to the truth of who they are. The next chapter of your journey will reveal how to protect your gift, expand your light, and influence the world around you with divine authority. The awakening was never the end. It was always the beginning. Now walk forward with the certainty that heaven has already gone before you. You are not lost. You are not late. You are exactly where you were meant to be.